Welcome to Linda's TV show. I greet you according to your time zone. If it is your first time of coming across this platform or seeing my face, my name is Linda and you are watching Linda's TV show. If you like what we are doing, kindly subscribe, put on your notification bell to all notifications so that you'll be able to know when we upload a new video. My lovely people, always share these videos, always like and share. Ugo here, we react to all forms of videos, local, internet, especially what is happening in Nigeria and in Biafra land. I put a disclaimer that here in Linda's TV show, we do not promote misleading information, hate speech, violent or instigating war. We are to all forms of videos and we are here to inform, educate, enlighten us or the public about what is happening. Of course, I will always seize every opportunity to appreciate YouTube for creating this platform that we are using to disseminate this information to the members of the public. YouTube, thank you so much.
If you go to the government of Israel's website on their view on the lost tribes of Israel and who's from the house of Israel around the world, you'll notice one of the most common names in that report is the Igbo tribe, the Igbo tribe. And these are about, 40 or so million people in Nigeria that self-identify as being Jewish. And now there's, 60 Orthodox communities in there who have converted and are practicing Judaism. And the leader of the Igbo people, ruling over them is trying to, create an independent Jewish state. And they have a whole Jewish revival going there. It's fascinating. And the government of Israel is loving it and they're supporting it. And Jewish people are making documentaries about it. And it's like the most exciting thing ever. And it's giving people a lot of biblical renewal.
I just had a Lyft driver yesterday telling me about all this, and I was kind of like, all right, what? It's all true. What you talking about? It's crazy.
So your Lyft driver was Igbo from Nigeria?
I'm so sure that's what he was saying to me. Yeah, all this stuff. He was saying that he said Israel's been supportive.
So anytime I'm in Israel at the Western Wall and I see a Igbo man that I could tell because they're wearing Nigerian outfits, I say, are you Jewish? He's like, yeah, how do you know? And I'm like, well, bring it in, give me a hug.
No, that's what he said to me. He picked me up at a Jewish community center. He goes, are you Jewish? And I went, yeah. He goes, this place, is this house of worship or this is, what is this place? And I told him what the JC. It's it's a community center. They do events. It's about a building community. They do all sorts of, they take people from all races. I said, yeah. He's like, I am from Nigeria. Igbo. He didn't say and when I said Nigerian, he's like, not Nigerian, Igbo. Yeah. Not Nigerian. I am Igbo. I am Jew. And we're trying to do what Israel did. They're supporting us. And he started going on this whole thing.
Yes, because Nigeria is just a name that the British threw on to the amalgamation of a bunch of different tribes there that destabilized the region and led to a genocide and a Holocaust of the Igbo people. When in the 1960s, millions of them were systematically killed and murdered.
Yeah, he told me about that too, but I was running late. So
it's so this is so relevant because we have such a never again Holocaust theme, but these people had it. But what is mind-boggling to me, which I can't imagine why this is not in the news and not spoken about, is that a large chunk, more than a fourth of the transatlantic slave trade.
This is Thursday, April 23, 2026. Good evening, everyone. Powerful Kaba in Nigeria, the group of people called Kaba, they are the one blocking the implementation of the state police. You see, before there was this momentum to bring state police where community policing will take effect. So, and after some time now, nobody is hearing about it. Something is going on somewhere. They have watched it. They have used microscope to look. If these people have state police, it will disturb the invasion of these terrorists entering into people's community one after the other. Even though me myself do not believe that state police will have been just total solution against this insecurity. I don't believe that. But I think now, for these people to start blocking state police, it means it could have been part of the solution to say, because the indigenous people will now bear arms to defend themselves. Just like what I was talking about, advocating that people should go and join the hunters, the vigilante group. This has nothing to do with external forces. This is about the village people. This is about community force. So it will help a lot. Okay. Someone called me. That is the reason why I'm making this video. So the person said he saw my video when I was advocating for people to go and join vigilante group and carry arm to making sure that they will be able to defend their community amidst the invasion of jihadists from around the country. So he was telling me that is the reason why they are doing everything possible to have state police. So I was asking him, why is the state police not a reality today? He said, there have been a lot of delays. I said, son, let me tell you if you don't know. Maybe you know, you don't want to tell me. Or maybe you think I don't have access to information. There is no office or department in Nigeria that I can't access information from. Powerful cabals in Nigeria are blocking the implementation of state police. And he was shocked. See, people should understand what is going on now. Let me dive you back. I was watching Car Truth. Car Truth is a YouTube channel on YouTube. They used to interview people about social, cultural, and political issues in Nigeria, and also sometimes religious issues. So, Imam of Abuja was interviewed. And Imam of Abuja drew my attention to what Goodluck Jonathan said in 2012. I was watching Goodluck Jonathan. The news was everywhere, where Goodluck Jonathan said that the Nigerian presidency, his own office, have been infiltrated by Boko Haram. Nigerians, pay attention. I want to tell you something. If Goodluck Jonathan, who is not a terrorist sympathizer, confess that his own administration have been infiltrated by Boko Haram far back 14 years ago, in the year 2012, 14 years ago, in the year 2012, he said that his administration have been infiltrated by terrorists. Not that he is part of them, but they infiltrated his administration. So, after 14 years, you should know that terrorists are ruling you. You should know that terrorists are ruling you after 14 years. And this is what the Imam reminded me of.
But do you think that the terror
and that he will dine with them without knowing?
There is no missing of words about it. This is the reality I really want people to understand. 2012, Goodluck Jonathan said, my government have been infiltrated. That I eat with Boko Haram, I don't know them. I eat with Boko Haram, I don't know them. Like, you people don't know Nigeria. You people don't know what is going on in Nigeria. You people don't know where Nigeria is going. A sitting president is telling you that he's eating with Boko Haram. He don't even know that they were Boko Haram. Like, I don't know how, if I have my supernatural power, I will just put this reality on everybody's head in Nigeria. People need to know all these things. 2012, Goodluck Jonathan said, my administration, this is not Nigeria, Aso Roko have been taken over by Boko Haram, and the president is shaking. And you think someone will get there after 14 years. Remember what Buhari did. Remember what Tinubu is doing. You think somebody can now enter Aso Rock today without any agreement with the system? The power lies on the people right now. The government can't do anything again because the government are complicit. You saw what the U.S. Senator was saying. What is it called? Senator Ted Cruz. He was saying that, that was yesterday, that Nigerian government are complicit. Everybody knows that Nigerian government are complicit. Far back 2012, Goodluck Jonathan said, my government has been infiltrated by Boko Haram. I want people to understand principles of infiltration. I have taught all these things on this channel. These are the principles of war. These people now control everything. That is why sometimes if I watch people talking about how to stop the insecurity in Nigeria and laugh, because you don't know what you want to solve. You don't know. You don't know what you want to solve. And if I see people who think that political regime change is just the solution, Goodluck Jonathan was there, but he was scared because Boko Haram infiltrated his government. Oh God. Even you are going on Rande on how to make Nigeria work. You are on that Rande with Boko Haram, who want to overthrow Nigeria and establish a Sharia caliphate and stops Nigerian constitution. You are on a Rande with him. You think that you people want the same thing, but he wants a different thing entirely. Wake up, guys. Wake up, guys. If you want everything to blow up now, if you want everything to blow up, if half of the youth in Nigeria could arm themselves by joining vigilante and start resisting all these terrorists, their sponsors, body language will shake. The power lies on resisting these people, because what is going on in the West is the same thing with what is going on in Nigeria. There is a global push to bring Sharia. But the difference between what they are doing in America right now, in Germany, Italy, UK, Sweden, and so on and so forth, and what they are doing in Nigeria is that they change system. In Europe, they see a loophole. These people used to go with a loophole. They see a loophole, so they now start using population agenda, because Europe is not giving birth to children like that. So they have got to use population. Like one of them was saying that by 2060, Canada will be taken over by Sharia. Why? Because there will be majority to vote in Sharia. That is when I tell you that democracy is good, though, until people who don't like democracy will be in charge of democracy. Then they will turn it to another thing that you can never return it back to democracy. So what these people are doing is that they are trying to repopulate Europe and the Western world and take over. They want to use democracy. They want to leverage on democracy. And when they take over, they will stop democracy and enthrone Sharia. This is just the original plan. Then back to Africa, especially Nigeria and West African countries. They know that, oh, these are black people like us. These are, people who give birth to a lot of people. You can see a father can have up to 20 children, with different wives. It happens everywhere. So it has nothing to do with your religion, cultures, all those things. It is happening everywhere. Now, with that happening, population agenda will never work in Nigeria. So they have to use what is their loophole? What is their disadvantage? What is their weakness? They saw that these people don't have sophisticated weapons like gun, so let us use gun. And while these people were coming, Buhari disarmed our forefathers, even with their one-round gun, shoot and run. Those hunters' gun, they disarmed them. So that was a loophole. They now give these people gun, start invading territories, put your cows there, let all, take over territories and join them and conquer them. One agenda, two things they are doing. But it's one agenda, different strategy. So, Albert Einstein said, if you ask me to solve the problem in the world, on earth, in 1 hour, I am going to spend 59 minutes defining the problem and using just 1 minute to solve it. A lot of people have been trying to proffer solution to this for over 20 years. Guess what? They fail. Why? They don't know the problem. So you can't solve what you don't know. This is the reality that I want people to understand. Now, powerful cabals in Nigeria are making sure that state police will not have effect. Anything that will stop insecurity will not have effect. You know what? Kunde Olawumi made a statement. He said, you see soldiers they are deploying to Kano fighter jets they are buying, they know that that is not the solution to the insecurity. If they know that this thing is the solution, they will not do it. Soldiers can never win war against insecurity in Nigeria because they have been infiltrated. How come you think that ordinary villagers will defeat Boko Haram with hunters' gun? But the same Boko Haram will go to military barrack and kill the whole soldiers because part of the soldiers there are Boko Haram members. Get sense?
I mean, the world knows our situation, which is the reason why those who really are concerned about what's going on in this country, look, there are attempts by interests to take over huge territory, part of Nigeria, part of Chad, part of Cameroon, part of Niger, and turn it into the global headquarters of terror. Those in intelligence circles know this. I'm saying this publicly now. A lot of people know this. We must never allow that kind of thing to happen. We don't want to live under ISWA. We don't want to live under Boko Haram. We don't want to live under Lokarawa. We don't want to live under IPOB. We want to live.
Nor do we want to live under the Americans.
Exactly, and we don't want an American. We want. And America has been our friend, for goodness sake. The point I'm making is we shouldn't fall out. This is the time when a real friend will come over and say, listen. This thing has gone on for too long. What can we do? And there's a lot the Americans can do for us. For instance, they can't sanction our leaders, but making life more difficult for ordinary citizens.
Those we are called to serve. The summary of my thoughts on economic development is that it has to be people-focused, touch it directly on the parameters that have express bearing on our daily experiences as citizens and economic agents. In Nigeria, national development pursuits should capture efforts at the revival and optimization of dormant factor assets, especially our large expanse of arable land, the internet, and the creative energy of our young population. and new cross-border opportunities that technology have opened to us. Several nations of the world are doing better than us on multiple fronts, not because they are better endowed, but for the simple reason that they have consistently made better political and economic choices than we have done. Democracy remains the best vehicle for inclusive growth and development, but perhaps the time has come to evaluate how ignorant among the voting public, weak internal governance mechanisms within the party hierarchy, and the near absence of clarity in the disposition of critical state institutions can hamper the delivery of the full promises of democratic governance. Policy inconsistency among political leadership remains a major albatross in our polity, and you can link it to the weakness of our institutions and the growing culture of populist opportunism. This year holds a lot of importance to what will happen to our country and the states in the decades to follow, because we are on the eve of another major election. This is the best time to take civic education seriously. The citizens must know what issues will be determined at the ballot next year, and how all of it is tied to our future. As I had earlier mentioned, poverty and prosperity, employment and joblessness, security and anxiety, prudence and rascality will all be on the ballot in 2027. The nation and our different states and constituencies will go in whatever direction we choose. It is simple. It is as simple as that. Let me take that again. The nation and our different states and constituencies will go in whatever direction we choose. It is as simple as that. My own prayer is that efforts be made to properly educate the public on these options so they can make their choices with the benefit of full information. The truth, however, is that the choice must be made in about 9 months, albeit a political one, but the implication of our decision on the economy will be far-reaching. As I said during a TV interview in 2022, foreign and domestic investors can know from the result of an election where to put their money. Investments are not attracted by endless foreign trade, like I said earlier, and media promotion, but by signals we transmit through the choices we make at the ballot. Sustainable job creation, improved factor utilization, and higher household earnings have their roots in the quality and quantity of investments that are attracted to a community part-time. To take the population out of misery of unemployment and the dignity of poverty, 2 development indicators that are of express importance to the majority of our people. Certain trade-offs must be made, because once you eat your cake, you can never have it back, at least not immediately. Cutting our appetite for foreign goods and travels will be a good place to start, but that will only be foundational. Evaluating the impact of social welfare expenditure vis-a-vis expected benefits from direct investments in productive ventures should follow quickly. The next consideration in this regard relates to the development of a holistic template to guide project conception, funding, and delivery. The idea is that no project should be initiated if there are no clear provisions for full-term funding, even after the lifespan of the administration that initiated it. It also follows that no similar project shall be introduced unless those earlier initiated are delivered, especially when there are no structural or legal impediments. Progress requires collective sacrifices from all stakeholder groups. At any rate, sacrifices in themselves are never enough. There must be clear goals and expectations. The public must know that their sacrifices will amount to something in the long run, not self-punishment. If public expenditure decisions are made to draw resources away from social welfare programs and push them to infrastructure development, for example, the public must begin to see efforts in that regard immediately. Important questions about long-term benefits must also be answered. It helps to communicate all of these through regular stakeholder engagements to clear ambiguities and build confidence. Above all, the leaders must be at the forefront when it comes to making sacrifice in order to bolster trust. The sincerity of officials within the leadership hierarchy must never be in doubt. When a decision on cutting down recurrent expenditure is made, all public spending related to the acquisition of luxurious vehicles, lavish state dinners, and self-serving overseas trips must be frozen immediately. The message for all of us is that our people respond more to what we do, not what we say. Economic growth certainly requires trade-offs, like putting more resources into capital projects and less to recurrent expenditure. High investments in education and health over white elephant projects and prioritizing public security over political patronage. However, before announcing a freeze on a wage hike, and the NRC president is here, those who sit at the decision-making table are also obliged to resist the temptation to pay their allowances or allocate higher paychecks to themselves, and that would be a tragic violation of trust. Since we assumed office in 2023, a central motor vehicle management policy was adopted to fix as many abandoned vehicles as could be fixed, invest more resources in the acquisition of locally made vehicles, and drastically cut down the number of functionaries entitled to official vehicles. We also looked deeper into the nominal role to identify possible channels of malpractices. It was not too long before we discovered thousands of ghost workers, I think about 11,000 of them, and other evidence of malpractices within the system. We have since dealt with that, with those using technology tools and new evaluation process that saved the state reasonable sums of money. We have also expanded our independent revenue base by more than 500% in the last 35 months through engagements with different economic groups, and of course the introduction of ICT tools in revenue mapping, mobilization, and remittances. However, the main reason we have done better at internal revenue mobilization is not that our people can see is that our people can see where their money is going to. They clearly understand our philosophy of governance as partnership between the government and the people. The lesson here is that citizens are much more sensitive than we appreciate. Their response to government policy and programs is tied to their everyday experiences. Fixing our economic governance delivery requires sending the right kind of signal, one that assures the people that the pain of the reforms will lead to enduring economic freedom for everyone in the fullness of time. I always give this example. I was in my office early 2024, and a gentleman walked in and said he wanted to support me and the government for the road that we built across his house. I thought he was just coming to thank me. He said, "Oh, by the way, I have $200,000 to support you." And I said, "Oh, really? Okay, so I'll give you the internally generated revenue account." And so the man left, and 30 minutes later, the alert came. So I can tell you, seeing him coming, I didn't know he would have $20,000. So the message is that people appreciate when good things are done. Beyond getting it right with political behavior, our priority has been found on efforts at cutting multiple productivity barriers across economic front lines. To address infrastructure gaps, our next focus was on power public transportation. It has to be made clear that small and medium-sized generators, or generators of any size at all, cannot sustainably support our giant economic race. Latching on my previous encounter with geometric power in Aba, we worked with the company to generate, transmit, and distribute power to Aba and its environs. Having achieved that, We are now working on getting reliable power to the rest of the states. I'm glad that the energy sector is now liberalized to accommodate participation by the states. Abia is already taking advantage of this new window of opportunity to the fullest. We have already started an energy sector partnership framework where government lends its weight to de-risk initial outlays of capital by independent investors. But operations and governance must remain in the hands of the private sector for efficiency and transparency, while regulation resides with the state. Closely connected to power and energy in the development equation is transport infrastructure, particularly rail and road networks. This is directly linked to a broad spectrum of economic development aspirations, including food supply, employment, reduced production costs, and lower cost of living. It is my considered opinion that the development of the transport sector should be made a matter of urgent national priority, with every tier of government committing a reasonable share of its periodic revenue to the development of the transport ecosystem within its domain. In Abia, we are working with the private sector to develop a real master plan for the states. While we understand that this is a long-term project, we also believe that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. We have no doubt that regional integration will benefit from rail networks to link agro and industrial sectors to markets within and outside the region. I'm convinced that a lot will change in our economic outlook if we get transportation right, starting with targeted investments in infrastructure. It is on the back of pace that we launched our electric buses towards the end of last year, and the fleet will be doubled by July this year. In our state, it is our belief that we cannot build a functional economy on the back of small generators. It is also our opinion that nothing will change if the most reliable public transport system are commercial motorcycles, tricycles, and minibuses. Of course, investment in social infrastructure, particularly health and education, where we have allocated 15 and 20% of our budget in the last 3 years, cannot be overemphasized. And probably more importantly is the issue of security. There's a reason security of lives and property is captured in our constitution as the primary responsibility of government. For over 20 years, insecurity has taken so much from our national treasury, while drastically cutting the volume of resources that could have been deployed to drive development outcomes in other areas of need. Insecurity stifles economic growth, steals talents, and keeps production assets dormant or at very low levels. Given the sensitivity of this issue, one will not exhaustively discuss it here, but it remains important that everyone gets involved in securing the environment. I'm glad that the issue of state police is receiving serious attention by this government. That is expected to localize policing and bring in more stakeholders into the mix. Our security challenges, very much like every other setback in our country, are not intractable. But again, there must be a firm commitment on the part of every stakeholder to identify and deal holistically with all channels of disturbances, with particular respect to violent crimes, terrorism, and activities that challenge the sovereignty of the Nigerian nation. Let me conclude by returning to where we started. You cannot separate national economic realities from the decision of political actors. This is an open invitation to all of us, especially young professionals in the room, to begin to show more than a passing interest in political discourse. Prudent application of public resources, respect for rule of law, independence of institutions, and all such issues that promote transparency in the public sector are down to the choice of leaders we make, our pattern of interaction with public institutions, and the level of commitment we apply to our patriotic duties as citizens and stakeholders in the democratic process. Our institutions need to become more resilient. But again, that would not happen by just wishing or talking about it. We need to make committed and unwavering demands to move the needle. When we consistently elect the right leaders, build independent institutions to protect long-term public interests, and cut out abuses by political actors, we can then move the gear to monitoring the procurement process in public institutions, cutting waste and blocking channels of leakages, because every kobo matters. They are both what I consider fundamental to jumpstarting our development. The next step will be the deliberate pursuit of accelerated development through intelligent public sector investment in critical economic sectors, particularly power and transportation. This is necessary to cut production costs, improve factor utilization, and expand employment opportunities for millions of young Nigerians. The next phase of our development must be people-oriented, driven by the creation of new jobs, expansion of business opportunities for local and foreign investors, and the prioritization of efficient service delivery in public sector institutions, especially education and health. People are our biggest assets, so it is important we invest generously in our wealth of human capital, for that is what I consider our truest and most enduring wealth, far above the treasures that are buried beneath our soil. To appreciate how infinite our human capital is, think of the exploits of our people in medicine, engineering, information technology, economics, finance, sports, arts, and in other sectors where value creation is driven by the power of the human mind and intellect. How then can this great nation of brilliant and hardworking men and women remain stuck in the net of poverty and material destitution? Addressing the origin of this continuing paradox should become a major priority for all of us, because individual brains.
As we are finished watching this interesting video, please, I want to see your comment, your contribution, your opinion in the comment section. Like I said earlier, let us do it constructively. Tell me what you think about this video that you have just watched, and also about the platform. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Please remember to subscribe, put on your notification bell, share this video, and remain blessed.